to the cloud. May the 20th is today. And as usual, so let's start with our prayer. Let's close our eyes, relax our bodies, relax our thoughts, invite our guides, the higher spirits, to be here with us, not only protecting us, but guiding us in this study so we can make the best of it. God, our Father, who is all power and goodness, give us strength to those who go through tribulations. Give light to those who seek the truth and fill the human heart with compassion and charity. God, give the guiding star to the traveler, consolation to the afflicted, and rest to the sick. Father, give repentance to the guilty, give truth to the spirit, guidance to the child, a father to the orphan. Lord, may your goodness extend over everything that you have created. Mercy, Lord, to those who do not know you, and hope to those who suffer. May your goodness allow the consoling spirits to spread peace, hope, and faith everywhere. O God, a ray, a spark of your love can illuminate the earth. Let us drink from the fountains of this abundant and infinite goodness. All tears will be dried and all pain will be lessened. A single heart, a single thought will rise to you as a cry of gratitude and love. Like Moses on the mountain, we wait for you with open arms. O goodness, O beauty, O perfection, we wish in some way to deserve your mercy. God, give us strength, help our progress, so we may rise up to you. Give us pure charity and humbleness. Give us faith and reason. Give us the simplicity, Father, that will make our souls the mirror that will reflect your divine image. And so be it.
And so it is.
So it is. Okay, so I guess I imagine last Saturday when Luis was with you, he mentioned about this book that I read, and there are so many nice cases about that they have in here. Unfortunately, this book is not translated in English, but I thought about bringing to you some of very interesting cases that I found in here. So in short, this book is a, how can I say, it's like a how they record this specific spiritist group in São Paulo, how they record their mediumistic meetings. So every serious spiritist center will have some, nice recording methods. So later, as they review those cases or the facts or anything that happened during the mediumistic meetings, so later they can discuss over, they can study, they can learn from it. And what's going on in this book, there is no opinion. Whoever they put it in, whatever they put it in here, it is a description of what happened in a certain mediumistic meeting. And in this case, for example, the case today is a little complex, but very nice for all of us to know, because then one realizes how complicated some healing can be. So for in this case, the title of this case is The Click. And for those who is not really familiar with the terminology, the click is, I put it over here, definition. There are two definitions for this. Is a group of people who living with sovereigns want to influence them or induce them to be harmful. And the second definition or meaning is set of people who exercise influence over any potentate or person with power. So what happens in this case is, what happened in this case was exactly like what the book is saying over here in Portuguese. The following narrative covers several days of a family meaning the couple and their 6-year-old son, who attended the Spiritist Center to assess their situation. The situation was the boy was clearly hyperactive, leading his parents to physical and emotional exhaustion. So it's important to say that the parents, it was not their first attempt just to take to Spiritist Center. They have been, at this point, they have been with a psychologist, a psychiatrist, and nothing. No result out of that. So finally, they took the kid to the Spiritist Center. And then, evidently, as the book says over here, as far as the assessment, in one of the meetings, there was, in the meeting was the team from the Spiritist Center, mediums, the master of the meeting, what they call the dialoguer normally is someone with a very deep knowledge of Spiritism, of the books and etc., but also with someone with high moral values, ethics. So they call this guy as the dialoguer, because then it's going to be the person talking to the spirit, okay, that is going to come through the medium or any medium in that meeting. So the meeting was the mediums, the head of the Spiritist Center, and the dialoguer. And so basically they said the prayers, then they start talking to the spirits and specifically asking or calling for help for this specific case. When a spirit showed up, and long story short, he was explaining what the situation was really in this case. So that's what they call the assessment. At the end of the day, they realized that the case was about this prince who lived 2,000 years ago, and the spirits made up his court of proteges or appeased, therefore his clique. So, meaning a prince, the boy. So in a previous life, like 2,000 years ago, this boy was a prince, and he had his very close group, people that he kept very close. And he was the commander, if you will. So, and they say that, in fact, that the situation was very unusual, because everybody in that meeting was surprised by the fact that actually, in this case, the commander of the spirit group, it was not just one spirit close to that boy, but a group of several spirits. The commander was the boy himself. And what happened was that during the night, when we know that our spirit goes elsewhere, right? So we do not have to be attached to the body. We can, and we go to other places, meaning places that is very how can I say, where the frequency or the energy is very close to ours. So during the night, the boy was, his spirit or his soul was going to places where he was meeting with this group of spirits. And then he was the one giving orders and orientations to those spirits. So that's the assessment. So, and then there is a second session when the book says the challenge. It was in the first day when they met. I mean, the mystic meeting happened or took place. And this spirit, one of the members of the group that was following the boy, he showed up. This spirit showed up, and the challenge was what they call a direct confrontation. It was a strategy that the group or the leader of the group choose to use, was direct confrontation. And the strategy was to demoralize the team or the incarnated team, the mediums and, the spiritist centered team, demoralize them with tricky doctrinal questions. And over here I have in the book saying, so they choose to demoralize the group of incarnated mediums and the team of the Spiritist Center with this doctrinal question. And basically, let's see. So the thing was that the question was to the team saying, okay, so here we are following the boy because he chooses to. He's our leader and he wants us to be here. So he not only wants us to be here, but he also gives us orders to stay close. And he gave us orders or directions as far as what to do. As such, for you guys to be here, reunited, talking about him and doing what you are doing is not really a decision of the boy. So as such, you guys are interfering in his free will. He doesn't want you guys to be doing what you were doing. You are interfering in his free will. And that was a tricky question because the dialoguer in that situation didn't know exactly what to say back. However, in a second, as such, in the first meeting, in the first day, the spirits, they felt like, okay, so I got a victory. We won, because they do not know what to say. What they are doing is against the boys' free will, and they are violating this, let's say, natural law. And as such, they cannot do it. So they are going against what they believe. So what happens is, in the second day, here comes what they call the support, meaning a spiritist group, a mediumistic meeting like this never happens without the support of the spirits, right? So, sorry. The Spiritist Center also has a group of spirits, higher spirits, that support or give them directions, give them education, training, etc., etc. So, and this happened during the second day, when the head of that Spiritist Center, or the spirit that is actually the main supporter of that Spiritist Center, he inspired the head, or the incarnated director of the Spiritist Center, who was present in that meeting. And so he inspired the spirit, the high spirit inspired the director of that Spiritist Center to not engage in that intellectual fight, if you will, but rather to think about love, think about compassion. And as the book is saying right here, the spiritual team already knew the strategy of the clique. And then they inspired the director of the Spiritist Center to interfere in the situation, and he did. So he didn't engage in the rational, intellectual aspect, but rather he said a prayer to Mary, Holy Mary, to enlighten the spirit that was there, talking to the whole medium group. And not only that, but he also asked Holy Mary to embrace that spirit with all his love, with all her love and compassion. And that by itself caused a devastating effect in the spirit, because that did touch his spirit or his heart in a very profound way. So it's what we call anemic or anem shock. So that was like how they reverted the case. And evidently the spirit that was communicating was very much touched by what happened, and then he retreated. So on the third day, another group of spirits showed up. And that group was actually what they call the rivals of the gang that was following the boy. So it's not different than what's going on here on Earth, as you can see. So that gang by itself has other rivals, and those were the rivals that showed up on the third day because they were close. They got closer because they noticed what happened on the second day meeting, and then they saw a chance to defeat the group of spirits following the boy because they saw a weakness in their group. But the mediums or that team dealing with the group, with the spirits, they had means to address that spirit. It was taken care of. And on the fourth day, then the whole clique showed up. Not only one spirit talking to the mediums, but all the groups. So they showed up and they choose their strategy, all or nothing. So they were there to for everything, you know. They were like in a desperate case. But again, one of the top leaders received such an intense shock of emotions that shock led him to realize his mistake about what he was doing. And such feeling spread to the other spirits of the same hierarchical level. And then the lower ranking members deserted as well. So it was interesting because on that meeting, something that they noticed, not all the spirits were convinced. Some of them, they were convinced, but not all of them. And then they threatened the group of mediums, saying that victory was a temporary one, was what they call a pure victory, because as soon as they had a chance to get together and organize themselves, they would return. Meaning, or giving us again the alert that how important it is for us to keep in mind that there is no definitive cure unless we do this we apply this persistent discipline, persistent study, and above all, we keep this consistent, intimate reform. So there is no cure unless we do not transform ourselves, because that's the condition that will eventually attract good or bad spirits, right? So if we keep our emotions, our thoughts at the same level, then there is no way, you know, that group of spirit maybe go away, but they will return. So it's necessary for us to keep on with our studies and keep on with our discipline, so we transform ourselves, we elevate our thoughts, and then that will be the key for us to prevent those any spirits to come back and make any harm to us. Okay, it's a long story, but it was a very interesting one. Comments or questions or no? Yes, Giles.
Plenty, as I put in the chat.
Oh, you did?
Number one, who wanted to demoralize the team? And why?
The group, the leader of the group, of the spiritist group,
The
they-
leader of the spiritist group wanted to demoralize the team. That
The
I don't
leader-
understand.
the leader of the spirits group. The leader of the disincarnated.
The spirits, not the spirit, not the
Spirits,
yes,
not the spiritist.
not the spiritist, but the spirits. Yeah.
And what team did he want to, or she want to demoralize?
The team made of the mediums, the head of
The
the
Camino
spiritist center.
Spiritist group.
Exactly.
Okay. Number two, day two. How could the team know the future?
Which team?
Spiritual team was already aware of the clique's strategy.
Okay, because now we are talking about the spirit group that support the spiritist center. And
So there's two spirit groups.
There's
yes,
a protective is what
the
they call.
protectors.
Okay, so
yeah.
okay, but that's not clear in the story. So we got three groups here. We got three groups.
We have four actually.
Okay, who's the fourth one? The family.
The first one is incarnated. Everybody incarnated. The second one is the clique. The third one is the protectors of the spiritist center. And the fourth is the rivals of the clique.
Okay, well, there's no clarity about the rivals of the clique and what their motivation is. They look to be like drunken football fans throwing empty beer cans at people.
Yeah. Now, this
They
is
don't
just,
have any. They have no purpose
they
except to make trouble.
They do. If what's gonna happen if you only think about that stuff and messing up with somebody else's life, you do not collect friends, right?
Okay, well, fair enough. I mean, if these people exist on this planet, in this side, they certainly exist on the other side too.
Oh yeah.
But I don't see what they're doing. Why? Okay, I don't follow why they would be there. Now, question three, day three. When is the new group turning up? A new group shows up as rivals of the clique and a chance to defend. Is this a fifth group now?
No, this is the rivals group.
Okay, the football fans throwing beer cans.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that have no. All right, okay, so we get that clear. And then the day four. Who provides the emotional shock to the top member?
The mediums. The mediums.
The medium.
The
The
incarnated.
medium is only repeating what a spirit is talking to the medium. So how does the
Well, the
medium
one
provide a shock?
Yeah, the one channeling, yes.
Okay, the one channeling.
yes. Yeah,
And
but
the
not
top member of which clique? The football fan clique or the prince's clique?
the princess clique.
Okay, a top member of the prince's clique finally realizes what?
His mistake,
What was his mistake?
that what he was doing, it had no purpose. I mean, it had no good ending.
Sorry, that sounds just like some politicians in America could do with a realization like that. Sorry, all right, I'll shut up. I don't like the conclusion, which is no definitive clear, but a cure, sorry. I will lower my hand and shut up.
What the book is saying, as long as we keep the same state of mind, the same state of thoughts, quality of thoughts, then you may find a cure for something like this, being followed by a bad spirits, but that is going to be temporary, because this is going to happen over and over as long as you keep the same state of mind, the same level of thoughts or quality of thoughts.
If I can add one thing, that is the exact purpose of reincarnation, because when you die, you're born, which is a ferocious activity, and then you live, and that's difficult, and then you die, and that's unpleasant, probably. And so whatever ideas and prejudices you have, you get a memory wipe for the next incarnation, and now you have a chance to grow up and to grow better.
But look, this is a group that is following an individual for 2,000 years. So who knows if they were incarnating? So some folks, they just refuse.
Hey,
if
they've been following it for 2,000 years, then their brain is set in stone.
Bingo. Yes, there are people like this. So
yes, indeed there are. We know there's one in Russia, at least, if not more.
No, I will go to the defense.
Okay.
Okay,
we've got people worse than that, and we just point fingers. That's all we do. So sorry.
So you have your hand raised.
Yes, and I we talked about 2,000 years, but consider that Jesus came 2,000 years ago, and has there been a change? Human beings are doing the same things that they have been doing for 5,000 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No, but there are always negative forces that will always try to upset. Always.
Yeah. And those are the ones refusing to change, because they just believe whatever happened to them, it was injustice, it was not fair, it was their birthright to be whatever, the top of the society, and they have no commitments, they only have rights, they have no obligations but rights, right? So those are the ones that are most difficult to be educated and elevated. Okay, so I was about to talk about this and suggest for us to start with our discussion on the Astral City book on the next Saturday. I don't see the rest of the Brazilian folks over here. I will talk to them, but my idea is to hold the first book discussion next Saturday, so we can go over Astral City and talk about some of the main aspects of that book, and perhaps explain some of the things that we see in the movie that is not really clear, but as you read the book or as you know about other books from André Luiz, then you understand better. So I will propose next Saturday to hold that meeting. I'll be talking to Luiz and Maria and everybody else and Leda, so to get an agreement on that.
I have to apologize for the Brazilian government, Anna, because they put up on the site of the official government, you can change to English, but when you change to English, then they don't change the tourism part to English. So that you have to go in the Brazilian, in the Portuguese part of tourism to have access to to the visa part, but I sent you the link. So if you click on that link, you get there. But it's a mess. The site is a mess. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's why that's why I suggested the two sites. The one is the site that is the Brazilian consulate here in the US, and not the one in Brasilia, and or the site that they keep in London. Those two sites, they are organized. They're very, they're good.
Okay. I'm sorry then.
Okay, so last time we just started Law of Liberty, the chapter 10, and we were talking about natural freedom. Actually, it was the last one. So in the question 828, how can we reconcile the liberal opinions of some individuals with the oppression they sometimes exercise in their own homes over their subordinates? And the answer is they are familiar with the law of nature, but is counterbalanced by their pride and selfishness. They know what should be done when they truly embrace these liberal principles, but they do not do it. So they do not walk the talk, hypocrites. And letter A, will the principles that they have professed during this life be taken into account in the next? And the answer, the more intelligence the people have to understand the principle, the more inexcusable their neglect to put it into practice. I may truly tell you that those who are sincere but simple are further advanced in the divine road than those who try to appear to be what they are not. So with that, let's do this. And here we are. Law of liberty, slavery is the first topic, and 829. Is there any portion of the human race intended by nature to be the property of other human beings? I will not even expect. The answer is the absolute oppression of any individual by another violates God's law. Slavery is an abuse of strength and gradually disappears with progress, as all other abuses will eventually disappear. Yeah, when I think about this, all other abuses, because when we discuss about slavery, we were talking about individuals, but I know some people who, in my perspective, can be viewed as slavery, because psychologically that person is so attached, so bonded to the other one and kept under fear, etc. To me, this is like slavery on a different level. So, and then the comment from Kardec, the societal law that sanctions slavery is a crime against nature because it reduces human beings to the level of animals and degrades them both physically and morally. So, hi, Cynthia, you have your hand?
Oh, sorry, I should have taken it down.
Okay, so any comment? Shall we go?
That's very obvious that no one should own anyone.
Exactly. Yeah. 830. When slavery is established in the standards and customs of a nation, are those who profit from it to blame for conforming to a system that appears to be natural to them? To me, is also obvious. What is wrong is always wrong, even if everybody's doing it, right? So what is wrong is always wrong, and no amount of sophistry can change a bad deed into a good one. However, the accountability for wrongdoing is always proportional to the ability of the offenders to understand their actions. Those who profit from slavery are always guilty of violating natural law, but this guilt is relative. As slavery became rooted in the civilization of certain nations, human beings may have taken advantage of it without seeing it as being wrong and as something that appeared to be natural to them. But once their reason became more developed and enlightened by the teachings of Christianity, and they were shown that slaves are their equal in God's eyes, their actions were no longer excusable. So again, very obvious. Hyacinth, please.
Yes, because that is very current, that decision, because people who thought it was right, they saw, I mean, this is a way of life. They didn't see that there was anything wrong in it. And I'm afraid the teachings of Christianity didn't help them very much. For example, the Netherlands in South Africa justified it using the Bible. There should be, always would be, drawers of wood, drawers of water and hewers of wood. So, I mean, you know, and that is something I must confess that I have said I will never read aloud in church Paul justifying slavery. I will never read it because I cannot.
Yeah, in this case, I guess what they're talking about is teachings as, you know, compassion and.
No, it's slaves obey your masters. Hyacinth will not.
No, no way. Yeah. Gloria, please. Thank you, Hyacinth.
Pope Nicholas actually sanctioned slavery for the Catholic Church and for Catholics, and there were a lot of Catholic nations. And then in the South, in southern slave states, a special version of the Bible was printed with only the verses that supported obeying the master. And that was the only thing that was allowed to be read to the slaves in terms of Bible verses. They got an abbreviated slave promoting version of the Bible.
Isn't that a shame? Wow. Yes, we can screw up badly. Not too far away, by the way, right? How many days ago, or how many years ago? Not too far away. I mean, scary.
It was, I think, in 1956 or something.
No way.
No. Law in New York was abolished. There was no between black and white. It was a natural against nature. That was all.
We, in our legislature in Louisiana now, they're in session, and there's a bill to abolish slavery. This is 2023, yeah.
No.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. Scary. Leda, please.
The same thing happened with the woman's women's position in the family, right? Paul says that the women should obey their husbands, and that's something we can't understand that out of the context of the time.
Yes.
So there's something very interesting that Luis always says is that the civil rights, they evolve because they are not they are made for a time and for a population that needs to learn something at that time, and it changes because it has to evolve, it has to change. But there are some laws that won't change, which are the universal laws, and that those laws are love one another. And like the Ten Commandments, the Ten Commandments, they are a kind of universal law that it doesn't change. It's the way it has always been for 3,000 years, 4,000 years, and it's still going to be the same in the future. But the civil laws, they change because they were made for tougher times, for tougher spirits that had to suffer more to understand. And now we have evolved. So I thank God we did, right? Thank
Yeah.
God, because
Some of us.
yeah, cause and effect, we are still experiencing the effects of this bad laws that we have had in the past. Until now, here in Brazil, we have a very hard heritage in the slavery chapter, because we have many spirits that are still attached to this suffering that have happened here, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what, at least that's what we see in some of the mediumistic meetings that happen, right? So you still, until today, there are
Yeah.
some spirits showing up in those mediumistic meetings, and they are still living that reality and suffering from it, right? The
Yeah,
slavery.
this week here in Brazil, we had May 13th, which was when the slavery was over here. You remember that? And then when this date, this important dates, they come, the spirits, they always come to the meetings, and this week we had a spirit in Maria's meeting that was there to remind us of this horrible things that happen and that should never happen again.
Exactly. It, to me, is like today Hollywood, they have so many movies and documentaries about the Holocaust, and it's fair, it's nice, but let's not forget about slavery as well, right? It's a horrible thing, and it's not too far away from us. I do not know if I don't think in the movie they show this, but in the book Astral City, in the book, they show the André Luiz mentioned this. It's in the very first chapter, the very beginning. This lady that is arriving to the Astral City as a new.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, it's the first spirit that he attends as a worker from Astral City, and she was the owner of a slave, and she had been in the darker realm for over 50 years, I guess.
Exactly.
And yeah, and she was in a very bad condition, but still had to change her mind, because her mind was still in the old thinking way, in the way that she used to think.
Yeah.
And he tried to change her mind. He tried, but it was not yet the time, right?
Yes, she was still asking, okay, so where are my helpers, the slaves, that she used to have to take her to the carriage,
Yeah, and after suffering a lot, right, of the cause and effect.
exactly. After suffering, she was still with that idea stick in her mind.
That's why
Anyway.
education is the most important thing, because if you educate people, you have everything. If you change their minds, then you have everything. Because suffering, sometimes if you suffer without understanding what's going on, you won't change who you are and you won't change your future. You just go on having more and more suffering.
Yep, exactly. All right, moving on. 831, does the natural inequality of aptitudes place some members of the human race under the control of more intelligent members? And the answer, yes, so they may rise to a higher level, but not to further degrade them by slavery, evidently. People have too long viewed certain ethnic groups as working animals with arms and hands and believed that they have the right to use them and sell them like beasts. They think that they are of pure blood when they are really fools. Only the spirit is the marker of purity, not blood, evidently.
Yes.
I think it's very straightforward, right?
Yes. I don't think much has changed really for some people.
For some, yeah, and I agree. Let me talk about an example for that we all know about it. How many people, after divorcing from their spouses, how many of them keep them under a very strong psychological or emotional or I don't want to say slavery, but connection, but it's almost like that. I know some ex-husbands that they just give away everything because of the kids, or vice versa. Ex-wives, just giving away everything for the sake of the kids. I mean, like I said, slavery, we are talking over here about the physical body, but there are several layers or levels of slavery, and I consider psychological, emotional being one of them.
Can I be a little cynical here and say that unfortunately, a lot of very intelligent people are behaving and accepting what less intelligent people are telling them. And that I don't understand.
What do you, okay, so
no, I'm saying that very intelligent people are accepting what people of low intelligence are telling them.
Oh yeah, because remember, there are some people, they are only mental. There is no heart in it, in their thoughts. So you can develop intellectually, but that doesn't mean that emotionally, in the heart, you like Leda was saying, you need to transform. You need to work on your inner transformation. So know the heart follows your mind.
That's right.
Right. Okay, 832, there are people who treat their slaves humanely. They think that freedom would expose them to greater poverty or deprivation. What do you think of this? And they answer, they have a better understanding of their own interests. They take the same care of their of their cows and horses to get a better price for them at the market. They are not as guilty as those who treat them badly, but they still treat them as a merchandise by depriving them of their freedom. I know of some stories in my state, and those are old, very old stories, because the slavery in Brazil ended back in 1888. But in the area where my grandparents had this farm, there used to be some slaves as well. Not my grandparents, but some other properties. And they say that some of those say owners, they were giving the freedom, they were freeing their slavery, their slaves, but they were just telling them, okay, you have the option to go or to stay and work with me. And some of them decided to stay. And yeah, so I don't see that, okay, so that I don't see this, just treating somebody humanely without giving the option, you may go, or no, anyway.
Yes, that's a justification.
Exactly.
I'm treating my slaves right, so it's okay.
Not really, yeah, I don't. Well,
I mean, that's how they think.
yeah. Okay, so it seems like we finished, and the next one is freedom of thoughts, and the first one is 833. Is there anything in human beings that escape all limitations and of which they enjoy?
Can I say something else about slavery? Just one thing else.
Please.
Because that's how we evolve. Because sometimes for people at that time, some of them thought it was right because it was legal, and it wasn't. And now we know it wasn't right just because it was legal.
Mm-hmm.
So we should, as we know about the afterlife and of the spiritual reality, we should always consider what we think now as the right thing. Is it really the right thing? Because some things that now we believe is the right thing, in the future, they might not be the right thing. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So we always have to ask ourselves, is this the best that I can do? Is this what God wants me to do? Is this, am I being the best person that I can be? Am I doing the best that's expected from me,
Mm-hmm.
Because many things that we find legal, like in Astral City, as you remember, there was, I think we mentioned this already here, but André Luiz, I think you mentioned it. André Luiz had, his father had, how do you say, when someone owes you money, he had someone that owed him money, and he chose to plead to
instead of forgiving that he chose to persecute the person and actually execute that debt.
Yes, and that the law was in his side as well. The law, the human law was at his side, but when he crossed over, he realized, I shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
I am ashamed to have done that.
Mhm.
So many things that we think, oh no, the law is on my side. This is the right thing. Actually, from the spiritual point of view, it's not. You
Yeah.
understand?
So let's pick another example. I remember this taxi driver who found in Brazil, who found this bag full of US dollars. It was like $500,000 or something. And the law would protect him. It was nobody's money, right? It was in his car. Somebody forgot it. But instead, he decided to go after the owner of the money and give that money back, and give the money back. And I remember it was an American, but it was an American citizen. He had that money because he was, I do not remember, he was about to buy a product. I can't remember exactly what the reason was for the money. But then the owner of the money wanted to give some money as a compensation to the taxi driver, and the taxi driver said, "No, this is my obligation. I don't deserve anything because the money is truly yours. I'm just doing what any good citizen has to do."
A
Right.
higher calling with a high conscience.
Exactly. So that's what the LIDS is talking about. I mean, yeah, but not, unfortunately, not everybody's in the same way. How many of us
I
would
think
just
I would have
keep the
accepted.
money?
I think I would have accepted a present.
Yeah, that's okay, guys. So 416 here in Houston. Remember, we are meeting next Saturday afternoon instead of 3 p.m., 2 p.m. CST to discuss details and information as far as the trip to Brazil. Okay,
If
so
you can send her as your doubts about the trip, right, Anna? We can
yes. Oh,
prepare.
that's a good idea, Lida. Yeah. let me
Yeah,
see.
we can prepare better because now today I was